Welcome to the session on transfer of agricultural technology. Today we will be learning to identify research extension linkages. Then we will also be talking about major extension transfer of technology programs. We will also learn where we have succeeded and where we are lagging behind in these transfer of technology process. Agricultural development spectrum and thrust areas for research and extension will also be deliberated upon. Then we also would like to learn about the appropriate extension methods. Then we will be understanding paradigm shift which is needed for the restructuring of extension and transfer of technology system. We all know that interdependence of research and extension is there. Whatever research generates, new technology or innovation is generated, until and unless it reaches the ultimate user or the clientele through the extension system, it is fruitless effort, and all the money which has been spent on the research will also be wasted. Thus, it is very essential that this technology which is generated by the research system is reaching ultimate user or the farmers through the effective extension system. While agricultural and rural development is the major objective, extension education or transfer of technology of agricultural research system is the means to achieve the objective. Traditionally, extension model involved transfer of technology to the clientele and feedback from the farmers were given back to the research system for further technology generation. At present, the extension system has also incorporated the assessment and refinement of technology on farmers' field, and which is taken up in participatory mode or by the scientists themselves on the farmers' field. Also, choice of extension method is crucial for effective transfer. So, these are the things which we will be deliberating on in this session. The research extension transfer of technology linkages, if we think about it, without research being generated, technology being diffused to the clientele in the social system, the research done is fruitless, and communication or extension of that information or the technology or the knowledge to the client group without effective research basis also will be highly transitory. So, significance of both research component as well as the extension component is highlighted here. Research without extension transfer of technology is sterile, and extension without research base is like building castles in the sand. If we go to the traditional extension research linkage or transfer of technology model, technology generated by the scientists or the research system is taken to the extension system where the mechanism of transfer of the technology is taken up, and ultimately it reaches to the client system or the farmers where the technology is used. Then the feedback from the farmers is received back by the extension system, which is forwarded to the generator system, that is research system, for next appropriate technology to be generated. This is the traditional model of research and extension linkages, but now the component of assessment and refinement is also been highlighted and undertaken. So, the diagrammatic representation becomes like this, where technology is generated by the research system at one place, then technology is assessed in the farmer's field, at the farmer's field with the help of the scientist, and the technology is again refined or modified as per the requirements or as per the needs tested there on the field, and then that technology, the new modified or refined technology, is integrated with the infrastructure, resources, and finally the technology is transferred to the clientele or the users. Then technology use is taken up by the farmers, and ultimately the feedback is given to the research system, that is technology generators there. So, this is the new model of research and extension linkages, and these research extension and user linkages were strengthened by many of the programs which were taken up since independence in Indian agricultural development. First, we come to the National Demonstration Scheme, which has now been abandoned. Then it was a major program which took up technologies to the field levels, farmers' fields, and where the technologies was demonstrated for uptake by the farmers themselves. Then monthly workshop cum training program of extension officials of the line department every month at research stations and agricultural colleges as part of the training and visit system was taken up. The TNV system is also now abandoned, but it made a quite substantial impact at that time considering the agricultural development and technology transfer. Then we had the lab to land, famous lab to land program of ICR, which took all the research technologies which were developed in the land straight away to the farmer's field. The other programs included where the research extension and user linkages were strengthened, included frontline demonstrations. Then there was another program on institute village linkage program. Then on-farm tests and trials were also developed. Nowadays we are having Krishi Vigyan Kendras or farm science centers which are like working in the technology transfer area, and these centers are placed in each one every district, so it is making quite an impact in transfer of technology scenario. Then we also have zonal research and extension advisory committee at zonal level, and farm science melas, farmers fairs, kisan melas etc. are yearly, annually or biannually organized at various research institutes, and state agriculture universities are also helping in transfer of technology. Field days and diagnostic team field visit give like specific information, knowledge to the straight away to the farmers fields, and it is like taking the knowledge of the scientists to the users directly. Then research and extension education councils of SAUs are also there where farmers are also members. So like feedback system is also strengthened, the linkages are strengthened this way. Then annually Kharif and Rabi workshops are being held for benefit of the farmers. Agricultural Technology Management Agency under NATP, National Agricultural Technology Project, is working at the district level, where the synergistic effect of KVK and other agencies working for the benefit of farmers are taken up. Then we have State Agricultural Management and Extension Training Institutes, popularly known as Samiti, and then we have Agricultural Technology Information Center set up under National Agricultural Technological Project. Community Development Program and National Extension Service also made a significant contribution for the transfer of technology programs launched in the after independence in India. Then we had a major program on intensive agricultural district program. Then another program, important program, was on intensive agricultural area program. High yielding varieties program with components like high yielding varieties and package of practices was there. Then high yielding varieties were demonstrated through national demonstrations. Then other programs launched besides the above are farmer training centers have been established. Then farm and home unit of All India Radio and Krishi Darshan are also specifically devoted to playing the information or relaying the information to the ultimate users, to the remote areas of the country. Then functional literacy program in villages for illiterate youth has also been launched. Then Small Farmers Development Agency is also working for the benefit of small and marginal farmers, or like concerns are also taken up by the Marginal Farmers and Agricultural Laborers Development Agency. Then Command Area Development Agency is another program which was launched in India, which made a significant difference for the transfer of technology initiatives. Drought prone area program of Government of India also was taken up. Then we had specific tribal area development program, integrated rural development program, training and visit system, training of rural youth for self-employment, that popularly it was known as TRISEM. Then we had broad-based extension system, and nowadays we are having Agricultural Technology Management Agency, ATMA, which is operative at the district level. If all these programs have like a specific agendas which is very clearly evident through their names, and then we come to the like scenario where we introspect or reflect what we have done till now, where we have succeeded and where we have lagged behind in the research and extension and transfer of technology. Though we are high in total food grain production, we are having lesser per hectare yield. This is an area of concern where we need to focus nowadays. Then we are also topmost in milk and egg production, but we are lacking in per herd milk production. Another area which needs our focus is this area where we need to improve our per herd milk production. Then we didn't have enough programs in the rain-fed area, and rain-fed area is unexploited, which needs focus now. The gap between rich and poor is widening, and it is a like major concern, and this is giving rise to many of the social malaise also. Then margin of profit to farmers is not satisfactory. Nobody views farming as a profitable venture, and producers' share in consumers' money is much less than what should be. So major initiatives or interventions to be taken up now is how to enhance this producer shares in consumers' money. Most of the marginal and problematic land and soil yet remain undeveloped and unreclaimed, which these need to be focused for future interventions of transfer of technology or generation of technology, specifically for these areas. Hardly 1/3 of the technology developed by research system have so far reached the farmers. We hear of like 3% of the technology is reaching, or like there are not enough impact studies also how much technologies have ultimately reached to the users for which they were intended. This indicates that either those technologies were not perfect, they were not adequate, or they were not lacking some relevant advantage, and now, or the other reason can be that transfer of technology system was inadequate or ineffective. So we need to focus on both the research also, like making innovations or technologies perfect, as well as making effective transfer of technology methods. Then also, yet 26% of the people in rural area are below the poverty line, and this is an alarming statistics which gives indication that we need to work for the downtrodden or the poor people. Though we have emphasized upon the food security, we neglect the nutritional and environmental security. Degradation of natural resources and access to nutritional food or consumption of nutritional food is also one of the important concerns. So these are the areas where we are lagging behind. We need to be focused, like we have buffer stocks, we have enough food for each of the persons in Indian population, but then nutritional security and environmental security is not focused on. Then another area where we need to focus on is the post-harvest technologies or value addition. This sector has not got enough attention by our researchers as well as transfer of technology workers, professionals. So this area need to be like focused on. Similarly, much remains to be done in the arena of diversification of farming, commercial agriculture and agro-business. Agri enterprises need to be set up and agro entrepreneurial competencies need to be inculcated among farmers. So these are the areas for future. Researchers as well as extension methodology need to be specifically focused on these areas. Then infrastructural and credit facilities in rural area are yet far from adequate. They are in fact inadequate, and this is one of the major area which major complaints. If we go to the farmers field, farmers are becoming helpless in this kind of scenario, and it poses an impediment in the way of rapid agricultural development. So provision of infrastructural facilities, transport facilities and credit facilities are crucial for agricultural transformation. A very large number of positions or posts in research institutes of ICR or state agriculture universities and line departments are vacant over the years. This adversely affects the momentum of the technology generation and technology transfer. Block level extension workers or village level extension workers are non-existent in this kind of scenario. So these are the areas where we need to have our focus in the present time. If we discuss about the agricultural development spectrum and the thrust areas for research and extension, we need to prioritize the areas where we need to focus on. Priority stress on eco-friendly environment-prone agriculture towards sustainability has to be taken up. Environment degradation or agriculture which is like prone to or like meeting out the current demands of environment is not there. So priority stress has to be done on the eco-friendly technologies. Then emphasis on rain-fed dry land, deep and marshy land and tackling their problems has to be taken up. The major concerns of farmers of these areas are how to search for their livelihood. So if the focus is taken up or the thrust areas are devised for this particular concern is the major need these days. Then the other concern comes of attacking the problem of water logging, flood, water management, deforestation, deterioration of soil health and management of saline, alkali and acidic soils. Shifting to diversified and commercial farming is essential concerning the post-WTO scenario, where commercialization and even the faraway countries are targeting our markets. So, farmers need to be made aware of advantages of diversification and commercial farming. Then emphasis on value addition, organized market, processing and export orientation is to be taken up at a war footing, because this kind of focus is lacking among our farmers as well as our extension professionals, and researchers also need to develop technologies which cater to this particular sector of value addition and processing and export orientation. Then examining various land use alternatives has to be searched out. Another area is regarding shift from commodity centered approach to farming system research and extension approach. This focus will make a paradigm shift, but that is the essential imperative at this moment. Farming no more to be viewed as a source of livelihood or subsistence living, but as a commercial business enterprise or agribusiness. That focus has to come up among the researchers as well as extension professionals and farmers. All the three sectors have to be made aware that commercial farming and agribusinesses are the need of the hour. And entrepreneurship development both at micro as well as macro levels, like specifically one commodity, one village or one region may be taken up at a war footing to develop entrepreneurship among farming sector. Modern technology need to be wedded to indigenous technological knowledge and ancient wisdom. If modern technology is far away from the technological knowledge, the adoption is not that higher. So, farmers need to be like made tune with the modern technology, which is having alignment with the technological base, ancient or the ancient wisdom or the in the IT case. Then there has to be synergy between technology and public policy. The technologies are being generated, but the promotional public policy or the kind of environment which is needed for technology, effective technology, perfect technology generation is also needed. So, there has to be a synergistic approach towards technology generation as well as formulating public policy. Market driven and demand driven approach has to be taken up rather than supply driven and produce driven approach, both in research and extension. What is needed in the market, market assessment and what is actually needed by the consumers must be produced, then it will be like filling up the gap. Bridging the mismatch between production and post-harvest technology is also another important area for research and extension to be focused on. Then farmers' participatory approach in research and extension. Until unless farmers are equal participant in both the processes, the success of the processes of research or extension is not that much as it is desired. What is the paradigm shift which is needed for restructuring of the extension and transfer of technology system? Transfer of technology mode to technology application mode. This paradigm shift is needed. Then group approach to transfer of technology. Not the individual approach. Group approach is effective, more effective for transferring the perfect technologies or important technologies. Then involvement of community based organizations is essential for transfer of technology and adoption among farming community. Associating all the stakeholders in the extension is essential for effective process to be built up, because even if one stakeholder is neglected, then the process of extension and transfer is not complete. So, associating and making them partners in the extension process is essential for effective transfer of technology system being developed. Formation of self-help groups and extension through them can also be taken up. As self-help groups or farmer interest groups may act as para-extension workers or create awareness among the farming community. Selecting and using para-extension workers or para-disseminators of the technology is also one of the area. Then taking this in public-private partnership mode, because there are certain advantages associated with public sector, whereas there are certain advantages associated with the private sector. If there is a partnership developed between the both, then advantages of both the sectors can be converged for synergistic effect. Then multidimensional and multi-agency pluralism approach to extension has to be looked up. One agency or one dimension does not cater to all the needs of the extension or transfer of technology process. Then rural location specific knowledge center and single door delivery system has to be taken up. An emphasis on and driving the programs like Antodaya for all round development of the downtrodden has to be taken up. Whatever programs have been taken up for extension and transfer of technology, they had to be need based and they must focus on problem solving, skill oriented training for self employment. And in this area we need to focus on the poor and downtrodden. Then increasing use of mass media umbrella for transfer of technology need to be taken up. And establishing and promoting agricultural technology management agency in each district and ETIC, that is Agricultural Technology Information Center at each research station, and Krishi Vigyan Kendras have to be taken up at the district level. Most of this has been taken care of, but much needs to be done to cater to all the regions and all the areas concerned. Strong infrastructural and credit support to transfer of technology efforts have to be taken up. Use of electronic media and digital revolution has to be also looked upon. Then farmers' participatory approach is one area which is imperative in the present context, because until unless we enlist farmers' participation for our transfer of technology program, the transfer of technology programs are having a half-baked approach. So, passive farmers may be converted into the active participant in identification of the needs, problems, defining the objectives and devising the line of action. Like from the start of the program, farmers need to be made partners, equal partners. Participatory approach leads to social acceptability of the technology and also the scientists in the rural social system. Farmers feel morally bound to adopt improved technology, like if they are involved from the planning to the prelude to the process of technology generation, they are more adept to adopt those improved technologies. Then proactive farmers also help in technology assessment, technology refinement, technology integration and technology transfer and technology use, because they are working at the field level, they know the nitty-gritties, what is needed at the field, farmers field, and what is not needed at the farmers field. Then role of village institutions and self-help groups in extension and transfer of technology is there. These SHGs or self-help groups are accelerators of development. These are the village institutions like Gram Panchayats, cooperatives and schools. Panchayats provide leadership and help in getting infrastructures and resource mobilization, whereas cooperatives ensure input supply and credit facilities. Schools children, if they are getting the education, they can get the rural and farming orientation. They can also take back those learnings and inform their parents through reading material and teachers. This will create a proactive environment or climate for positive for the technology adoption. Then self-help groups, farmers interest groups, women grain and money banks, commodity associations, Kisan Mitra groups, Mahila Mandals, youth clubs and functional leaders of the village, if well selected and trained, can be a great assets. There are many examples or many successful cases where these organizations or groupings have made impact in the rural transformation. They serve, because they serve as opinion builders and secondary disseminators of technology. They also act as motivators and voluntary para-extension workers, and they provide an important link between extension system and farmers. Then if we talk about the type of extension methods, based on the criteria of contact, they are individual contact method, group contact method, mass contact method. Group contact method are like conducting demonstrations, discussion sessions, meetings, whereas mass contact method include radio, television, newspapers, etc. If we look for the classification of extension in the form, like they can be spoken, verbal, method communicating through words or talks or lectures. They may be written words like bulletins, leaflet, printed material. The audio methods like radio, visual methods like exhibition, posters, charts. Audio-visual method combination can also be used, television and film. Electronic media, computers, internet, etc. can be used. Based on the function of the process, we can categorize it as telling, showing, doing. And based on the stages of learning process, if we see the stage of interest, tours are appeal to the tours or visits can be conducted. These are the mass contact method. At the stage where local leaders and circulars, method demonstrations will make an effort. When the desire is there, the desire is created. Conviction can be got through result demonstration, friends, relatives or functional leaders. Whereas at the action stage, regular farm and house visits make an impact. And finally, personal contact, news stories, field days give the satisfaction, they can be taken up at the satisfaction level. So depending on the stages of learning process, we can choose the mass contact method. Choice of extension method is important, if the farmer is illiterate, the written material cannot hold value there. So depending on the audience or the recipient, choice of extension methods can be taken up. And the principle of seeing and believing and learning by doing are to be kept in mind while choosing a method. It is always better and more effective to choose a combination of methods for a lasting effect, and also the objective and purpose of transfer of technology should be kept in view while choosing the transfer of technology method. Then we come to the role and functioning of KVKs. They are like institutions based on providing need-based skill oriented vocational training, and they are funded by ICR. And they must have, each one of the KVK must have 20 hectares of farm for practical experiences. The training of varying durations are being undertaken. They can be of 1 day, 3 days, 1 week, fortnight and a month. And both on campus and off campus training are conducted. Interdisciplinary team of scientists and training associates conduct these trainings, and the KVKs have mandated on-farm trials, technology assessment and refinement and transfer of technology as their activities. And the feedback from the farmers is given to the parent institute and university scientists for strengthening the research TOT linkages. If we need to conclude, we can conclude this way, that there is an urgent need to reorient and strengthen both research and extension systems in the country, because these are the two significant pillars and they involve agencies concerned in transfer of technology exercise. Then partnership mode between public sector, line departments, private agencies, input agencies, credit agencies and NGOs should be worked out. Research and extension thrust should be on the diversified farming, a rain-fed agriculture, organic farming, nutritional and environmental security, cost-effective technology inputs with the higher return in short run and long run. And a paradigm shift is also needed. Rather than focusing only on food security, we must also focus on the nutritional security of the population. Then more emphasis should be given on the biovision approach, resource poor farmers, farm women and rural youth being the special category, and also need is there for focusing on the agro-processing, value addition and export orientation to be taken up. Thank you very much.